Welcome to Business Startup for Boomers. This is the show that brings you inspiration and ideas to start your own boomer business. Here's your hosts, Larry Aarons and Jeff Williams.
Need a little help with your business idea? Need a little counseling and advice? Well, that's what we're here for. Hi, I'm Larry Aarons, along with Jeff Williams, who is the chief coach at Biz Starters. Biz Starters has been around 25 years, and their business is all about what we talk about on this show, helping boomers start businesses. Jeff, what a delight to have you back on today. We're going to talk about a topic today that I really struggled with when I started my business. I could never figure out, until more recently, what to charge for my services. So let's talk about pricing your product or your service today when you start your business. Do entrepreneurs struggle with this idea?
Well, they do, and I certainly did too. It's absolutely a very valid and commonly asked question. Let me just quickly divide this into two pots, product and service, because they're priced differently. It's actually easier in many ways to come up with a competitive selling price for a product, and that's because normally to produce a product you have to buy what are called components or raw materials. There's a lot of different names for them, but you usually don't produce a product just in one fell swoop with just, your own effort. There's usually things you have to buy to go with it. And they are sold to you at what's called wholesale cost. So a typical thing, particularly if you're going to sell to consumers, is to take the wholesale cost and double it. That's known in the retail world as a keystone markup. I can't tell you why. I remember my days back in Sears in the 70s, we talked about keystone markup. Now, there are some product lines that have much higher markups. For example, jewelry is marked up about 7 times the wholesale cost.
I've heard that. I always remember that when I'm shopping for jewelry for my wife.
Right, absolutely. So if you got a product, it's relatively simple. You just got to figure out, you have to go out and say, okay, this is what the wholesale costs are. And then, of course, you have to do some competitive research. Just go online and say, who else has a product like this? What's their selling price? Now, services, which is the second pot of pricing here, is a little bit more complicated, because when you're selling a service or you're selling consulting or you're selling training, you're selling your time primarily. Now, your expertise too, but you're primarily selling your time. And how much is time worth? Well, I guess it depends. If you're sitting around on a Sunday afternoon and you don't expect to make any money and your neighbor offers you $50 to help him do something, then your time was worth $50. But for most of us, you need to have some sense. I will tell you that in most major metropolitan markets, certainly like Chicago where I live, you're at least worth $75 to $100 an hour. If you have 25, 30 years of experience in what you're selling, you're in that $75 to $150 range. I price my basic consulting and coaching at $150 an hour.
Yeah.
If someone comes to me and says, well, we want to buy an extended amount of your time, then I have to do what's called project pricing, which is where I have to sit down and, using my experience and some wisdom, I try to say, okay, it's going to take me 10 hours to achieve what they want me to do. So 10 times 75 is $7,500. Or 10 times 150 is, $1,500. And this is what I'm going to charge them now. If they also want me to say, come to a meeting with them every week, I'm going to add a little bit more on, because that's more time.
Yeah. It's all a function of time, isn't it?
Right. And quite often it's not uncommon with consultants in particular to have 2 or 3 different basic prices. The highest price you ever charge is when someone either wants you one-on-one on the phone or live. That's your most valuable time. If they want you to do some kind of support task that you can do at night or on weekends, you might price that a little bit lower. And if they want a task done that you can subcontract to someone, you might lower your cost even further for that. But what I call face time always gets the highest price.
I like it when I find somebody that's going to solve a problem for me, and they bundle a little package of services together. Where, hey, I'm going to do A, B, and C for you, and here's the price. I always like it, and sometimes I offer that when I offer my services as well, and it works pretty well.
Oh, you're absolutely right. As a matter of fact, this is part of your selling value, is you're going to the client, you're saying, I understand what you want, but from my experience, you probably also should have this and this. That's part of the expertise you're selling to them. Being able to say to them, I've done this enough that I know you're going to want to have this and this, because the client may not have thought about those other two things.
Yeah.
It's not that you're really trying to be greedy and get more money. It's that you know that customer satisfaction in the end will come from having this whole series of tasks done, not just the one they think they want to buy from you. Now, sometimes clients will resent you saying this. There are some egocentric people out there who will say, well, how do you know? Well, then maybe they may not be a good client for you.
Yeah, egos. Well, the thing is, be bold and don't be afraid to price yourself fairly and equitably in the market. That works so much better than trying to underbid and seeming desperate for the business. And we've all been there, haven't we?
Absolutely.
Yeah. Hey, about a minute left, Jeff. Let's tell people how you work with potential boomer clients who want to start a business. What do you do?
Well, it's called Virtual Incubator. It's run by a virtual incubator coach they're all over age 50. They're all very experienced small business owners. They guide you basically on a track to create your marketing strategy, your marketing plan, your sales prospecting plan. At the same time, we have a team here in Chicago that's doing all your organizational work for you. And because we have two processes working in parallel, we get people launched in 14 to 16 weeks, fully ready to go.
Wow. Start your business with BizStarters and the website bizstarters.com. You can book a call with Jeff. Just look on the bizstarters.com homepage, and you'll see the greeting from Jeff and a place there where you can click and look at Jeff's calendar and give him a call. Hey, Jeff, great thanks for solving this pricing thing. Something I dealt with, and I think you just helped a lot of people today. Great talking with you.
Great, Larry. Thank you.
This has been Business Startup for Boomers with your hosts, Larry Aarons and Jeff Williams, the show that brings you inspiration and ideas to start your own boomer business. See you next time.